Hello world, is your girl Liz here, back with another video. I know many of you have been wondering and asking where I've been on the channel, and the truth is I've been around. I've been on YouTube, watching a lot of videos, watching a lot of content, lurking. I may have mentioned previously that I am at a bit of a transitioning phase in my life. I lost a lot this year. A lot has changed. Some people have left my life and others were kicked with steel-toed boots out of my life. I can say for sure now I am truly starting from scratch. Part of this transition for me also includes a decision that I've been struggling with for a while, which was where I want to live. I feel like it doesn't fit the person that I'm becoming and the person that I want to be. I know that I need to spend a significant amount of time out of New York. There's a lot of things that frustrate me about New York. I really just want to talk to you guys about that today. I'm going to talk to you as I get ready. I am going to a show taping in about 3 hours. Stick around. Let's talk about it. I lived my first 4 to 5 years of my life in New York. I'm originally from the Bronx. I lived there with my father and my mother and my brother. At some point, I actually don't really know. It's actually so weird that a lot of my beginnings of my life, I don't really know that much about. And when you ask these people, they all have different answers. It's very suspect. And I was born on the island of Manhattan. At some point, my dad got a transfer, a new job. We came down to Delaware. I think it was like a couple months before I actually started going to kindergarten. I mean, it was fine for me. I got to play outside. Our neighborhood had a pool, tennis courts. Most of my family, including my mother, still lived in New York, so I grew up going up to New York every single weekend, every single holiday. Sometimes people try and tell me like, oh, you're not really from New York or whatever. I'm just like, bitch. Yeah, like some people try and say like, oh, if you didn't go to school up there, you're not from there. It's like, what are you talking about? Like, I literally spent, at this point, most of my life in New York, even though I did go to school in Delaware. Also, when my dad had to work during the summers, I used to have to stay in New York. So I don't want to hear that. When people ask me where I'm from, at some point I would say Delaware, and then I was saying New York, and then now I say I'm from both New York and Delaware. You know, why am I trying to listen to these people trying to put me into a box? Like, I can't deny New York and I can't deny Delaware, so I'm from both. Shove it. I actually wasn't really sure where I was going to go to school when I graduated. Some family stuff happened. I decided I can't stay here anymore. Now, my cousin suggested that I go to Nassau Community College in Long Island. Although New York is New York and Delaware is Delaware, going to school in Long Island is a little bit like me kind of prolonging like my, I would say, true New York experience. I went to school there for 2 years. I applied to Brooklyn College. I got into Brooklyn College. Then when I moved to the city and I decided to go to the dorm, and so I had to go out and find friends. And so this is how I started to actually get involved in New York City life. So I would join online groups and they would have meetups. I joined meetup.com and I would go meet people. My school was a commuter school, so most of those people don't want to be a friend. You know, I was young, I was naive, obviously didn't have good taste in guys, but I also didn't realize like the state of New York though. Endless like situationships. And it's weird too, because you would meet someone that you like actually really connect with and they'd just be so afraid, they just run. Weird. 2014, my narcissistic sociopathic ex, video coming soon. He comes at the end of 2012 and exits like very beginning of 2015. At this point, that's when I started partying, going out with the celebrities, doing that whole lifestyle and all that stuff. I was really enjoying the New York City life. After I had lost everything after that relationship, I was realizing how really hard it is out here for a pimp. It was really difficult making ends meet and how much things cost and trying to keep up your appearance. And I wish that I had the skills now that I have now with the confidence that I had back then. I would have freaking murdered half of the city. Through all these going ons, I start to get a taste for outside living. When I went to Germany, that's when I got my first bite of the travel bug, and it bit me hard as year. Then in 2015, that was the first time that I went to California. It was such a culture shock. It was like, oh my gosh, like it's really like how it is in the movies. I actually bought a one-way ticket to go out there. I didn't know what was gonna happen, but my ass ended up coming back. Came back crawling. When I went to California and I came back to New York, something happened, something changed. Every time I left New York and I came back, it just got like dustier and dustier. I don't know, I just started to wake up to New York. I went to Barbados. That definitely was a big triggering moment for me. Everything in America just seemed so fake to me. The food seemed fake. The people seemed miserable, nasty, and all the things that sometimes you think that you need, like, I need this thing, I need that. You know, it's a system of things of keeping you in a wanting, like, state of mind. Like, you always wanting something. It's like such a change going from like having like 2 or 3 dresses that you wear and you wear the same clothes and like you're eating decent food that's not like rotting your mind or make you depressed. And you know, I'm not saying it was perfect or anything, but what really made things bad for me in New York was after I came back from Mexico, I ended up hanging out with some Mexicans. They love their culture so much. I was totally bamboozled. We're literally made to think that like all Mexicans like want to move to the States and like they'll do anything to do it. They are helpless and we need to help them do everything that we can. And not the case. These people were like, I love Mexico. I want to stay here. After coming back from Mexico, everything to me tasted so fake. I actually ended up having like a taco like a week and a half after I got back. Dude, it tasted like I was eating cardboard with plastic. Like it just tastes so weird. And I'm not even trying to stunt. It just started to really turn me off, started to compound my need to get out of New York as much as possible. You know, went to California a couple more times. I would go to Florida, you know, at least every like 2 or 3 months. If the world has always been like this, please somebody let me know. But I feel like something is weird, something's off, something's going on. Stuff just started to go downhill, man. Like people are just so agitated. I just started to realize after experiencing other places in the world, like people in New York are not nice. They're not friendly. They have nasty attitudes. They will push you out of the way to get what they want, and it could be something like a seat on the train. You have to come out and they will literally like push by you in order to think. You make a mistake, you bump somebody's shoulder and they'll tell you like, what the watch your self, move the out my way. And it got to a point where people was saying that to me and I used to be afraid, but then I started to become one of them. I'm like, yo, you move the out of my way. You watch where you going, bitch. There's just like something seriously so wrong with this place. I know that also social media has something to do with this. It's probably also me too that I have changed. I used to meet people so much more back in the early 2000s compared to now. So many people now are on edge. It just never was like that before. Let me tell you, one thing I will say, as much turmoil as Trump has caused, I would still probably be asleep if he didn't win. Because once he won president, I was like, hold on, let me go find out who this dude is. I started Googling him, and boy, I went down the rabbit hole. Certain things I don't even want to repeat on YouTube because, you know, you can't say nothing on here anymore. I started researching him, and I started learning a lot of things about this godforsaken city. One thing, for example, that really has been weighing heavy on my spirit is the amount of meritless and frivolous tickets that are given out by this city. If you breathe too hard in New York, you'll get a fine. All of these rules starting to pop up. You can't do this. You can't stand here. You can't go here. You can't park there. I don't know if anyone knows this or anyone familiar with New York, but they shut down 14th Street to cars. And this is like one of the major streets that people used to get from east side of Manhattan to west side of Manhattan. Now you get fined. Now they've pushed people from driving down the main street onto driving down the residential streets. A lot of residential people are upset. You know, at first I was like, oh, that kind of sucks for them. But then I was like, those people don't ever look out for me when they do all the effed up stuff they do in our neighborhood. So F them. And now they have this thing called quality of life crimes. They've kind of always had this, I would say, since like the 80s, but now they've ramped it up. And I mean, I looked up the stats, guys. I'm not just talking out my butthole. They have started giving all of these quality of life fines for frivolous things, arresting people, and it's gone up over the years, even though crime all across the world, but especially in New York, is like plummeting down. So it's plummeting down, yet fines are going up. The city made $1.9 billion in 2017 from fines, parking tickets and speeding cameras and all these camera traps. And I'm like, I don't even want to talk about it. But let me tell you, the rabbit hole goes deep. Even I, someone who has, a familial relationship with the police, even I feel a victim to them. I've had to pay out, and I would say thousands, probably 2,000 in tickets over dumb stuff. I got a summons for a law that didn't even exist. I had to take time out of my life to go to court. I had to be there at 7, by the way. Fight an offense that did not exist. It did get thrown out, thankfully. 3 hours of my life that I can never get back. I've been trapped before. They'll put up a sign, really quickly and then start enforcing it right away and charging and fining people. I mean, these fines are like $135. It's a lot to deal with on that front. To feel like you can't even walk around in peace. Of course, the fact that marijuana is still illegal, even though New York tries to claim that it's so open and loving and accepting of all people, they're still criminalizing it, locking people up, keeping them in jail, while the rest of the country and Europe laughs at us. I don't know if you guys know this, but New York is actually one of the states that has the most laws in the country. I am sick of it. I'm sick of it all. Not too long ago, I looked up a room. A spacious room in an apartment in Bed-Stuy. There wasn't anything remarkable about the room. It was a modest size for an adult like myself that, has things. And I saw this room, and then I went to look. I was like, oh, this room is really nice. Let me check and see how much it costs. It was $1,400. Normal size bedroom in an apartment in Bed-Stuy. There's a lot of stuff like that going around. It's easy to tell people, well, why don't you just move then? Okay, so who's gonna work these jobs that don't pay a lot of money that you need? Cleaning places, working in restaurants, working in bars, working events, maintaining office buildings. Where are those people supposed to live? Are they supposed to have 2 or 3 jobs? Are they supposed to live with other people when they're 30 years old, 35 years old? I know people who make good, decent livings. They make about $60,000 a year, and they can't afford to live on their own. How twisted is that? And you know what?
The rent is only going up.
This leads to my further frustration with New York. I know that I have to leave. I still have to figure out where I'm gonna go. Even as much as I've traveled, I still don't know. Not gonna talk about it yet, but I do have a plan. Not to mention the fact that I've been here for so long, I haven't had a meaningful relationship with anyone since I've been here. My one relationship that I did have that was based here in New York was toxic and mental as hell. Lots of lying, lots of fraudulence. No one can be honest with each other. Everyone's afraid. How much am I going to really sacrifice for being able to go get a sandwich at 3 a.m.? Lots of conveniences. But in order to have those conveniences, what am I giving up? I can't just live my life normally. Lots and lots of rules. And then people treat you like crap. People treat each other like crap. It's become inhuman. I know that a lot of people feel this once they go to big cities. It's something that you kind of have to realize is that the city doesn't love you and it doesn't care. And the city don't care what I think now. It's going to keep going. You're constantly being told you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't go here, can't stand there, can't do this, miss, can't bring that, you can't bring that inside here. And then you bump into someone on a train and they say,
"Watch it, you fucking bitch."
And then you get on the train and you're seeing advertisements everywhere. And you get off and it's someone trying to sell you something. Then you go outside and there's signs everywhere trying to make you buy stuff for money that you barely have anyway. And then you have to go to the bathroom and you go into a store and they say, "Sorry, you can't use the bathroom here unless you buy something." How twisted is that? Yeah, sure, I understand that it's New York. There's a lot of people. But how about this? I'm a fucking human being and sometimes people need to go to the bathroom. I had an incident like that the other day. I had to go so bad. I was like, please. No, sorry. Then I went to another place. I was like, please, can I use the bathroom? And the guy was like, okay, fine. Not long before their closing, maybe like 30 minutes, there was no one in there. And he had to really think about letting me use the bathroom. It's becoming such a sick, sad world out there. And it's so crazy. It's like our country is built on selling, making money. It just doesn't stop. Same thing with the internet. They used to have the ads on the side. They added the commercials. Now the commercials are not enough. Now you got to pay a fee. Now you got to subscribe to everything. Everybody's got to get their $12 in, you know, from everyone, out of everybody's pocket. It's just sick, frankly. Whenever I travel out of the States, especially when I go to Barbados, they have ads and stuff, but it's nothing like here. Like, I actually feel like advertisements, the constant advertising affects my mental health. I just can't hack it. I just can't hack it. You're always looking over your shoulder. You're always paranoid. It got to a point that when I would leave New York, I would have people try and be nice to me, try and help me with something. And I'd look at them like, you know, what's your motive? What do you want? What are you going to take from me? What are you going to steal from me? And you know, in New York, you have no means to protect yourself. I don't know what they expect us women to do. New York is so nonsensical. The law for having pepper spray or mace, you can't buy it in New York, but you can have it. You can have it, you can possess it, but you can't buy it. I mean, you obviously can't have you know what I'm talking about. You can't have a knife more than, 1 inch long. You certainly can't have one of these. I just don't know what to do anymore. The only option is for me to leave. I don't know what's going to happen to New York. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's a bit of a nationwide thing that's going on. Something is happening in this country. I don't know. Maybe I just see it for the first time now. Brain is fully developed at this point, and I'm starting to notice. I just wish it didn't have to be this way. It's not like I'm never going to come back to New York. Definitely going to need to for work, but my cousin, my grandmother still lives up there, but she's going to be moving back to the Caribbean next year or two. I will say this though. This is a video that I've been wanting to make for a while. It's some stuff that I need to get off my chest about living here, how I really feel about this place. The people are awful, and one thing that really bugs me is they're very elitist. They think that they know everything. They think that the way they think is how everybody else needs to think. I really don't like someone telling me how to think. I appreciate you guys listening if you've made it this far, but I do want to say this in closing. Based off of my beliefs, sorry, I need to change. Just based off of the laws of the universe, what's going on here can't continue. Something that works based off of negativity cannot continue to prosper, can't continue to grow. You know that saying, you lie with dogs, you get fleas. If you lie and you cheat and you steal, it's gonna come back at some point. The pendulum always swings back. It's just the laws of the universe. You're operating at a deficit. It may seem like you're winning now, but that can't last. At some point, it's gonna bubble. And when it bubbles, it's gonna burst. And at that point, they'll get exactly what they fucking deserve.